is going on, party people? I wanted to do a very special video based on the more recent video when they were actually talking and discussing about Runeterra. We have limited resources and all that good jazz, right? So I think a lot of people realize what that kind of meant is that the game of Runeterra is in a weird spot where they're not making money from this game as much as they'd like to, right? Or it's just not making as much money as League of Legends. Or even TFT, the game mode inside of League of Legends, which is really, really awkward when you think about it, right? And actually, they didn't really mention like Wild Rift. I mean, I'm sure Wild Rift has its own thing, right? But it's just really weird and it's really awkward to see like that they're having trouble making money. Meanwhile, TFT I think is a very good example. They already have a really good example of an actual business model, I guess, that's like slowly working. Now there has been some contention about TFT, especially when it comes down to the skins, right? And if you look at some of the prices of some of these boards, like the board, just let's look at this for example, right? This board, a TFT board, 1380. This one, that's a bundle. I can't even use that as an example. 1380 seems to be the roundabout price. Not enough RP. How much is that? 1380. Based on how things are, 1380, $10, $11 it looks like, because the little bonus RP is almost exact, right? But if not, it would be about $20, right? So let's go into Runeterra, which I have in the back here, and let's look at this, like the boards. 99, 990, right? And now it's not the same exact thing. There are some that are a little bit more expensive, like a 1290 here, right? KDA board was 1290. Some of these boards obviously are much better. So let's use 1290 or 990. So if I wanted to get some of that, so no, you'd have to go up into about $20 to get one of the good boards, right? 990 is covered in $10. You need $20 if you want a decent board. So it's just, are people not using it out? And I was watching I think Neckert's video, and he kind of explained like we haven't had a new board in a very long time. I don't know if these boards are sorted in release order. It looks like it is, like if I go from top to bottom. Oh yeah, this board, 1590. This board was kind of pretty up there, right? And then the two King Shadows, so yeah, you got to spend a little bit more, but I feel like that's the best that they got. I do feel as though the Guardian, this thing, I think it failed. I think that this is just terrible. I think they should go with the League of Legends, the TFT model, and the loveliness that is the Tacticians. More specifically, I don't think most people care about these little guys. I think they just get them out of, like, they get them randomly. But more specifically these, like the Chibi Gwens, and like you get a certain thing every time you went around. Same thing with the Aatrox ones. And these are pricey, right? These are actually probably 1900, right, to get some of these. And then if you want to get the super duper trooper ones, there it is, the egg version. These are like really, really cool. I think that this is better. I don't think the little smaller ones make any sense. And yes, you can get these randomly. By the way, you can actually get these randomly in another version of the shop. Like as you're doing like the loot section, you can get them off of, not this section, sorry. Okay, you gotta go to TFT, Treasure Realms. So you can actually get them randomly from here as well. This one, Chibi Gwen here, is like a really elusive, a very crazy skin. Same thing with this one, really, really crazy thing going on. And then you can even get some crazy high-end boards from like a RNG, like kind of gacha thing. I think that Runeterra needs to do something very similar. This stuff here is just hot garbage. I think that when you're playing, I think that it should be a champion there, and it should and maybe if they could even make it that it does more depending on the deck it's played. I think that's a little bit too much intricacy, but yeah, like just let's go into a game just for a second. So they got his little legend, I have mine, right? You can interact with it a little bit. Then this is my board. It's all jinxed out because of my channel, and then he has his. I can't really interact with his. The difference here, obviously, in TFT, right? Like TFT, you're running around. Your guy actually moves around, does things. I have the Aatrox one, so like he actually every 2 seconds. So he has like animations. He has like pretty much like voice lines. a lot to do. Now, obviously, I'm in an AI match, so like there's timers for that. So I don't think you want to make it that this guy can move around. It might color. There's already issues with stuff lingering on the board longer than it should. So I don't know if they necessarily even want to bother to do that. But at the same time, I feel like there's not much that I would actually feel like purchasing in a card game, especially with my own money, right? So I have card backs, and I literally got this because I was like, oh, the channel's Jinx did nothing wrong. So I'll just probably always have a Jinx themed board. But I feel like other people would do that too, but again, it's not gonna make people want to constantly buy stuff unless you constantly make cool shit. And then maybe then you have something going on there. But I think that that's the first thing that they need to do is possibly rework. Obviously, we're talking about monetization, right? So I do think that they need to make more of the Guardians a little bit better. I would like if there's like a little Jinx here. They work a lot with the emotes, but a lot of the decent emotes are in the event pass, right? So the events so far have been, I think, the best bang for the buck, right? I think it's pretty much they make this almost every single person, right? Oh, it's like blacked out. That's fine. I still have some stuff I haven't collected yet. So there we go. We get some emotes. You're getting cards, like especially if you don't have the card. But a lot of people I feel like are already at the point where their collection's almost complete. You get the card backs as well based on the event. You get icons, another emote. You get the wild stuff for the Path of Champions, which is crazy to think how well Path of Champions is allegedly doing, but it's not gonna make them any money. I don't even think you can buy anything for Path of Champions either. More emotes, the prismatic thing, which is, I'm going to talk about that later, and then another exclusive skin for the actual cards, right? But here when I go into the store, I can get bundles, which is like a bundle of all the skins, but most of the time the thing is that most of the time cards are played by or skins are bought by like a character that you like, and it has to be somewhat popular. So I think it's too much tied to the meta. And I also think, and I personally think, this is just personal, the whole thing with Standard and Eternal kind of messed that up, because I mean all these characters are currently standard legal, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But if it's like, I feel like now they can't really make skins for Eternal characters because I feel like they're not gonna really do as well. I mean, they still could, not saying that they don't, but it's gonna be a little bit harder for them to, I think, price that out really, like, or make as many skins as they did before, because like, when is Victor gonna get a skin? Victor, I think, still doesn't have a skin in this game, but very popular character at the time, and he just doesn't have a skin, and like, I don't know if he'll ever get a skin, because why would they ever make it? Like Arcane Hecarim, that's before he was turned into standard. I actually did not know that was a thing, that it actually got an animation like that. That must be one of the ones where they like reworked it or something like that. Like this one, see, look, so, what? Did they always have this? I know that sometimes like these, like they actually go back. Like this one didn't have an animation and then they made it have an animation. And I think it's like because if you buy it when it's cheaper, then you get a better thing. Like this has an animation, this has an animation. Soul Fighter Jin does not have an animation because it's a 751 or whatever. So if you got this at the moment, you don't get anything but a couple of cool stuff. But then you have something like this, 1290, obviously has an animation. I think that they need to keep up on this because it actually does have like, it has, to me, it makes sense. But they could also maybe tie in, like add one more thing to it, maybe make this more inclined to buy, that they make that this gives you a little Guardian, actual, what is this, Cascade Dragon Nami Guardian alongside of it, right? So like it actually really makes it so if you really like this character, not only do you get a skin for it, but then if you want to show that you like this character even when it's not in the deck, you can actually have it. Because again, what's the purpose? So if I'm like a Victor main, like I said, I could buy Victor his new skin, and then even if he's not in Eternal or Standard or whatever, how they rotate it, boom, I'm actually in a good spot. Like, I think that they keep making set skins because set's really good right now. As far as this goes, as you can see, you can't really buy anything for Wild Rift. You can't buy anything for Path of Champions. You can get cards, you can get boards, you can get Guardians, you can get card backs, which I think is a overall like weird. I'd say it's like a more of a failure. I don't see the purpose of really buying these unless you, because like I said, you get them from the event pass. So unless I'm like, oh my god, Talia, I gotta get this. I think they need to start making better like bundles of stuff. I think like just bundling stuff together, maybe upping the price slightly, but like maybe bundling them a little bit better. Like even the emotes, like They're very cheap, 190. I think some of them actually were higher priced than this, but most people aren't gonna buy the emotes really. I've seen a ton of people with these emotes though, but I feel like they're not driving as much money or going to drive that much money because a lot of the newer ones are just in the event pass. So unless you really like one, like you like the Tom Kench one, or there's a couple of them that are pretty good, and I feel like it's not as crazy. And like I said, the big elephant in the room, Path of Champions, great mode. I actually really like it. And then to be completely honest with you guys, when I first started playing Runeterra, not when I first started playing, that's a lie, but when I was playing it mostly, all I did was Path of Champions. I didn't actually play ranked at all. I only play ranked because as my channel, I felt that was the only thing people cared about. So I am try to make new decks. So that's what I was personally doing. But I actually like Path of Champions. They kept changing it, so I barely understand, not understand, but I barely don't know like what's going on now with it. They keep adding stuff to it. Like there's challenges, monthly challenges, weekly adventures, all this other stuff. It's kind of nuts now. And it's crazy to see that there are a decent amount of creators also that actually like purely make Path of Champions content, which is pretty cool. Like that now that there's PvE people, there's PvP people, so you know it's cool to see that it has that separation. Like, and now this is nuts. Like how many champions are here now, and the fact that some people have like all of them unlocked. They have all of them unlocked. They have them at high levels is crazy to think. And might be a focal point of the game, is maybe to step back. It's to step back on this whole aspect of it being this crazy competitive game. And I think that I feel like every time I feel like these games get into that rut. Hey, let me unlock Nidalee here, because like it's doing, you know, I have like 55. So I have to spend some of this. I gotta spend some of my fragments another time. But it's crazy to think of this mode as so popular, but it's making them no money. So I don't see like how they can continue to invest in this unless they start to do story expansions, which I think Necrit mentioned, right? So instead of it just being like this random, this is Zed and this is Lulu and this is Noxus, but like actually making a full-on thing, which I think could have been like the Soul Fighter thing, right? What was really cool with the digital, like the combat boss, battle boss thing, and it was Vygar. I think that should have been something similar, and it could have been in whole event, which it was, but like maybe that could be tied into Path of Champions, but it's an event pass kind of thing. And like how TFT is like doing multiple passes at the same time to just get them more money. Like people don't mind spending money if it's like a good, well-balanced thing, but like I feel like that's the problem, is that there's just a lot of goofy purchases. I feel like that maybe they just assumed people would gravitate to it because it's the Runeterra card game, it's the League of Legends card game, so we get all the people that are interested in Riot Games that play card games, and they would just gravitate naturally to it. I think that's not the point. You still have to make like good monetization. And then last thing that I kind of want to mention here is the Prismatic System. I'm here to say, man, I got 12,000 in this thing. This is a garbage system. It's always been bad. I think it should be removed for something else that could potentially be monetized. Let people keep their crystals, maybe even give them the value for what it is. Like here I got Prismatic Ari. Yes, the little shimmer in the background. Yes, it does nothing for me. It does nothing. It just does nothing. It's cool that any card that is generated from the Prismatic card also is Prismatic as well. So like for example, like these things, if you have a Prismatic Aurelia, this card will come as a Prismatic. That's decent, I guess. Like if Rumble, if he creates a card and he's Prismatic, his cards will then be Prismatic. All my Darknesses will be Prismatic. But it's just like, it doesn't do enough personally for me, outside of like a little bit of shining glare on the thing. And they actually do have like varying prices. So like a champion is 700 here, or you can actually spend direct like RP, like the actual purchase currency for that, and like the odds of you doing that is just extremely low. Look, 200. So like they actually thought that this was going to be something monetizable, and it just isn't. It isn't. it's garbage, and I think that that's one of the sinkholes that they did, and it's a process in the game, and I feel like no one cares about it. So I think that you could redo that and then maybe make it something else where, let's say, and a lot of this is stuff that people have been wanting and been kind of asking for, right? So let me use Irelia as an example since she is here, right? So the only way that you normally could get a different type, and I remember they said they had issues coding this, right? So her blades, right, are normal blades in this thing. Actually, she's not a great example of it, actually, if I'm thinking about it. You could maybe, instead of Prismatic System, maybe you can get like an Aurelia bundle, so you can make your Aurelia a little bit better, so you can customize what kind of blade she summons. The best example of this is, I should have went straight over to my girl, is actually like Evelyn, right? I think Evelyn kind of makes more sense with this, because like her, depending on what skin you're using, I would have lovely if I could see the husk. But the husk come out depending on that. So if I do this Evelyn, the husk, can I see, maybe if I click details? Yeah, like the husk are actually different in this skin alongside of everything like this. I'm assuming the same thing for this skin. If I hit details. Okay, so they're not. So I guess that's the only skin where they want to do that. But I hope you see what I'm saying. Like maybe do something of that nature. Like it's a different thing, because that's kind of what you're paying for in TFT. You're paying for animation every time you win. You're paying for now when you take a player out, they have animations, right? And that's stuff that people are willing to pay for, more customizable stuff. Actually, when you win and lose battles in this game, maybe have it that it does a animation plays as well. So if I'm playing a Jace deck or something like that, or if I just equip the Jace Ender, Jace then comes out with the hammer and he does a combo and smacks the person out. And maybe that's based on their Guardian, because their Guardian could be a champion, because that's a suggestion that I had earlier before, right? And maybe, because like they have animations similar to like stuff to me that looks like they're fighting things to begin with, right? Let me just go back to the store and let's go down to skins, right? So this is Hecarim, right? This is him, and this is his animation. Oh, he actually plays the guitar. That's kind of funny. And he comes and he charges in on you, right? So let's say when he wins, you actually see them all converge onto them and then like take a person out. And maybe it doesn't have to be the exact other champion, because I feel like that's a hard to animate because of the animation that is put into this. It would be hard to then, like, I guess put a like a placebo there. I don't know the technical term of what I'm trying to say, but it might be hard, like, to actually animate that into the game. But there is other animations, like Impact has an animation. What is it, like Vi's thing has an animation. So maybe start doing stuff like that. I think that that would be a really good way to monetize the game, by starting to do what works in the game. Like I said, these skins are amazing, these animations are amazing. Maybe do something like that. Zoe has an animation when she finishes you off, like, because you're clicking Pool Party Zoe. So Pool Party Zoe has like a splash animation, so when you do that final attack. And where am I getting that from? It's coming also from Yu-Gi-Oh! Now I'm gonna pause it here. Shout outs to QI Fu that has it. So we have Exodia, right? Now we already have Wincons in the game, right? We have, I think we have Fiora, we have Rise, I think we have Stars, I'm actually naming them. Star Spring, Bandle City, right? So we already have similar things like that, but it's based on a specific card. I want it to be based on a specific Guardian or something of that nature, right? So they have these, right? So these are the Wincons. This is the Destiny board. Destiny board has an animation. She's playing the Ouija board, and these are like the same thing, right? I actually don't even know which one this is. That's like, there's some that I don't even know even exist. Ghost Angel of Mischief is one that's kind of funny. But these are not even the ones that I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for a different one that they just added. Here it is. Like the Blue Eyes Dragon. So if you actually attack and win with the Blue Eyes White Dragon, it does this animation instead. He does a Blue Eyes White Stream, and Dark Magician also has one. Is this the Dark Magician one? Yes, Dark Magician has one. You have to use I think a specific Dark Magician, if I'm not mistaken. See, look, Magic Cylinder. A lot of cards, individual cards, have different animations now. And then, oh, the Dark Magician girl does it as well. And then look, boom, there's an animation based on that. I think that that's what Runeterra also needs. It's like, these things have been proven to be really cool in other card games, and I think that we just need to start to take that and then bring it into Runeterra, and then Runeterra will then be able to make a little bit more money because I feel like people wouldn't mind spending on it. Could you also put that stuff in the event shop? Yes, and the event store, this makes money. And a lot of things I feel like, especially like if you take out these prismatic stuff that they have in here in the chest, and see like this is cool for the fragments, yada yada. But I think they always have some type of, yeah, it's prismatic Italy. Yes, I've saved myself some money. But I do think that like Nidalee, great example. She chucks the spear at the Nexus or something like that, or she comes depending on what form she's in. There's a lot of crazy stuff that they could do because, and I want to give out these suggestions. I know I've been talking for a while. It's more specifically because they are on limited resources, so they need ideas and they need good ideas. And I'm not saying that mine are that great, but I'm just saying that they need some ideas because they currently don't exactly know where they want to go, and they want to make the best product possible to start getting either money into that, or maybe they don't care about money anymore. But I do think that that is. So I think that they need to add Path of Champions, and I'm summarizing what I'm thinking. Add Path of Champions to the monetization structure by adding them into this event, this event stuff. Because a lot of times, unless you want emotes and the skins, which to me are the only reasons why I buy the passes to begin with, is the emotes and the skins. The only reason why I get it. I don't care about really anything else because I have all the cards. I don't play Path of Champions so that much, so this, like, they give you Path of Champions stuff here, but usually just the fragments. It's not like keys or other things that unlock stuff, or maybe extra modes or extra stuff, extra fights into Path of Champions event. I think that that's what they should do. Completely scrap the Prismatic System and regurgitate it or breathe life into it with the Guardians and board system, similar to what you have in TFT. And then also I wanted to have a system similar to Yu-Gi-Oh, where they have a ton of cards that have separate animations, which we have in this game. I don't want to make it seem like certain cards don't have animations. Glorious Evolutions has an animation, Call of Dragons have animation, right? But I want it to be more tied, like stuff that happens based on something like a Guardian that you chose, not by it's tied to a specific card. And that's what the difference between that and like kind of like TFT is that if I pick a specific Guardian, I have a specific finisher when I do, or every time I hit you and I do damage, it does something based on the Guardian that I've chosen. I think that that is something that gives you more of a unique style. If I have the Jinx Guardian, whenever I win, I shoot a rocket at the end. Even if you surrender, you know, or maybe, you know, stuff like that. Like each Guardian has a surrender animation and win animation, an effect damage win animation, an attack win animation, and stuff like that. Like I feel like that's what I am basically saying. And yeah, maybe even a draw animation. I know it doesn't happen as often, but that's what I'm saying. I think that they just need to readjust of how this thing, because a lot of stuff is already working for the game. It's just that they're, like I said, it's not making money of it. Now, if it's an issue with like player retention or something like that, I think that that's going to be more in line with the metas and how long the meta stays, which they say that they're going to try to do more rapid updates, so you kind of have to stay on top of the meta more often. Some people are going to like that, some people won't, because people sometimes don't like when things change so much that it's like you get accustomed to something and then it's like now it's completely different. So that is my 2 cents. I think that it's a shame. It's definitely a shame, and I feel like Runeterra is across the board for getting hit by it, by the content creators and probably by the people that aren't making content, just playing the game regular. I think that the game is in a decent state, but I think that those are some suggestions that could potentially give it more money. Anywho, that's gonna be it for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Peace.